Hey guys, again, Mike Bland here with the Sniper School in St. Louis. Putting on these videos for, again, the reconnaissance training on intelligence gathering, observing, stationary surveillance. And, again, these tactics can be used in any number of scenarios, from a, end of the world scenario. Maybe you're a civilian, police, military, sniper, whatever. Maybe you're a hunter, you're trying to broaden your horizon on getting some intel on some game you're stalking or something. So these things can be used for anything, but again, I got about 28 years behind me now and experience between the police, private investigations, and tactical training. So trying to help others and help educate and share people with this instead of just keeping all this knowledge stuck in my head. So what I'm going to do quickly is show you how to set up on a place to do your intelligence gathering on. And I'm going to start left to right, and I'm going to start with the distances that are frankly just too close, where you're going to expose yourself and most likely get caught, or in a tactical scenario, get caught, get killed, get tortured, and blow your cover and the whole deal. So obviously you don't want to do that. I'm going to start in this, we're in a rural area here, but we got some houses. I'm going to use those as examples. So you can see right here, there's a White House. I mean, it's about 100 yards away, and maybe just under 100 yards, but you see there's like a crest right here in front of it, or like a hilltop. I mean, sure, you got to always take in, if you know the area you're in and you're familiar with it, like literally it's your backyard, and there's not going to be people or threats or anything back there, and 100% certainty that you can also get up dangerously close, and maybe you have to get some information or even hear these people talking. You have to understand that's where the totality of the circumstances get involved. People watch TV, and generally what we see is just based off of that, and usually that's not accurate. But again, so right up here, if I was to go up, and if you could follow me up right there to this spot, actually I'm going to show this again. Basically, again, this White House I was using for an example. Now we're really close. Again, there's kind of the crest of this hill here. Could a guy camouflage himself, be in a ghillie suit, and be set up here all day, watching a spot like this and never get caught? Sure, if you know the area. Again, it depends on, it's like where guys go into the gun store and they say, which gun should I buy? Should I buy a .38 revolver, or should I buy a sniper platform? I mean, first question is, what are you doing? So again, if in this scenario, personally, I know this area, but it's not the end of the world. We're not in foreign soil where there's enemies patrolling, and we're not watching a dangerous drug house where there, again, could be just guys coming out randomly firing out this way, high on drugs or something like that. So you have to take all of these things into account and mitigate all these risks before coming up with a plan, before making entrance and exit route, extraction route, whatever, into your or escape and evasion route. You have to plan all this out. But this here, I mean, generally this is way too close. Again, if you can pull it off, then it's something a guy could do. But the thing is, yeah, generally speaking, this is entirely too close. Again, yes, I could pull it off. You go over to the right a little bit, and you start getting a little further away, and then you got some houses straight through there, like it's a little valley. You've got the two White Houses. Now we kind of double the distance, a couple 200 yards away at least down there. Now, could someone see me if I was upright walking here? Yes, I've got the ghillie suit. If you're camoed out, you got your face painted, and you got your netting, and you have a little hide, or you're in some really thick stuff. You could easily do surveillance or intelligence gathering on people that are that far away. With the binoculars, you can see what's going on, license plates, names, vehicle types. You could write down a description of the person's, height, weight, hair color, what they're wearing, all the different things. And again, they're typically, they're not going to see you. I mean, if you're down and you're camouflaged. Now, if you're up, stand up and you're moving around, someone, especially if it's a bad guy, that could easily be seeing you from there. And then when you pan over to the right, it gets harder to see. Now we're talking like another 100 yards out, and there's trees on each side. There's some houses straight through there. Same area. Now we're getting into a different level here of where someone to see me from there, especially camouflaged again and set up right, is going to be very hard for them to see me. I mean, they're going to have to be out on a deck looking, almost kind of actively looking for someone. And again, in a military situation, or where you have soldiers, or an end of the world scenario where someone's scanning for targets or scanning for possible threats on their community, that's actually very possible. So again, it depends on who you're watching, why you're watching them, what you're trying to gather. And then when you start getting where you're about 400 yards out, 400 and 500 yards out, it's going to start getting to where they're going to really need some optics, unless you're really wearing some solid clothes that's silhouetting you, bright clothes, and you're really just not taking any measures to be stealthful. But if you're gillied up, have their face painted, have the lenses covered with the camo netting, and you're really moving slow, moving like you're supposed to, or sniper crawling or low crawling, they're going to have a real tough time noticing you. So again, the distance comes in to play, the way you're moving, the way you're dressed up. And a lot of guys think you need all this fancy gear. You don't really. To just get basic intelligence on someone, all you need is a really good optic, like say a spotting scope, a really large spotting scope, and then a small notepad. Or if you had something like a cell phone, which if you do, hopefully your ringer's turned off, and hopefully you don't have some lightning flashing on the back of your phone for notifications, which could give you away at nighttime. Someone could see that a mile away or start shooting that direction. So and that gets back into the noise, light, and litter discipline. If you're out here and you're doing these things in any of these roles, civilian, military, or law enforcement, you don't want to be leaving wrappers. You don't want to be forgetting things. You don't want to be losing, lens cap off your camera on the ground, a cap to your water bottle, all these different things, or ink pen even. So as far as the intelligence gathering goes, as far as the distances, the only time you want to get set up really close on someone is if you 100% know you're not in danger. Because once you're burned, I can tell you from doing private investigations or doing police work, not only is it really humiliating when it does happen, and it will at some points, and I don't care how good you are or who you are, it's happened to the best private investigators, it's happened to the best military operators. Unfortunately, those guys in that arena, they usually get captured, tortured, killed, unless they're able to be saved or calling for like a quick reactionary force. But the point is, getting caught is all bad. If you're getting caught, you're failing. So you just have to, and that's where the prior planning comes in. You want to plan it on the front end very heavily, and try to account for every thing that goes sideways. And also you want to have, in those scenarios we're talking about, these high risk intelligence gathering missions, you want to have an escape and evasion plan, which is, for the beginner people on this channel, it is having a route predetermined you're going to take off. And if you look right over along this way here, along this ridge line and this tree line, I mean, right here, I only have two options. I only can go along this and hightail it out of here and follow this down. Or unfortunately, if I go this way, this is all straight uphill. Now, here's the thing with that. If you're in awesome shape, then, hey, maybe you want to go for that. Maybe you're guys that are trying to, capture you. If they're on foot, maybe they're not going to be able to run like you. They're not going to be able to get away. That's going to be very tough to sprint up, 300 yards straight up a hill. But again, kind of reminds you guys when you're deer hunting and you shoot a deer. Sometimes they'll do that, and you're sitting here and you're trying to walk uphill and catch this guy. It's the same thing. This here is kind of flat ground, so I could get across this pretty quickly. especially if this guy's coming from 300, 400, 500 yards away. Before he gets to this location, I'm going to be long gone. But you got to sit, you got to wire your brain for this. And unfortunately, it's not something you can take a quick class on or take some kind of quick school on. It's kind of like the scenario of, you know, I went to college, I did all this police academy training, I did all these things. First day in the police job, I realized that literally none of those things prepared me for the real job. It's different when someone actually gets in your face, or someone pulls a gun or a knife on you, or someone tries to drive you over with a car. Real life's always completely different. So it's like a real punch in the face to you, and you have to get out and you have to do these things, and you have to practice this. And it took me years of even doing private investigations when it came to surveillance. I had guys calling me that were 25, 30 years on, and they were saying, I don't know where to sit in this neighborhood or watch the guy. And I was like, well, you shouldn't be sitting in the neighborhood. Someone's gonna call the cops, they're gonna be there in 5 minutes, they're gonna dime you out. So you have to be smarter, you have to think outside of the box. And I don't know why, but our brains are wired to do things that unfortunately put us generally in the compromising, dangerous situations. We usually want to get very close, right up on the surveillance. And military and law enforcement guys make the mistake a lot of times when there's a danger, or they're responding to something, they'll pull their vehicles up. Cops are notorious for this. For whatever reason, the way our brains, you know, there's a robbery call, we want to pull right up in front of the gas station, okay, when it's getting robbed, or the bank. What happens when the guy runs out with his AK? First thing he sees is two little cop head melons looking over the top of the hood of the car, and shoots and kills you, or shoots through the car. So you have to unwire your brain from that, and you have to be thinking on the way to doing surveillance or going to that robbery call. And you have to realize you have to do the opposite of what your brain's telling you to do. So again, in surveillance scenarios like this, or intelligence gathering, you have to do the same thing. And you have to get as far out as you can and still get the intelligence or the photos or the information that you need. And then you're asked, well, how do you know what the right distance is? Again, it is from your training, from your experience, practicing, having people doing some stalking exercise with you. I'm gonna do those in a later video where we have somebody try to spot us, and we'll have geeled up, camoed up with the rifle, the whole deal, and playing the cat and mouse game, and having the instructor walk the course and see, you know, basically point out the student. So that is really, when you start doing those type of role plays or that type of stalking exercise, that's really good. You could also do that type of surveillance training or intel gathering if you're a close, or, you know, executive protection company. You could play those cat and mouse surveillance games in an urban or city area, or in a neighborhood. You can practice this stuff anywhere, and all these scenarios are going to be totally different. So there's obviously a whole lot to this. I could spend, you know, 40 hours actually on YouTube videos, and I wouldn't be able to cover everything I've learned. But the thing is I would say, you know, just don't get overzealous, don't get panicky, don't get too cocky, just don't get complacent, and you be very aware. You know, if you hear voices coming your way and you have time, or somebody's walking out here and walking up on you, again, people get burned, and stuff can just, somebody can just come walking around a corner of a tree line and see you. Well, if they're that close and you don't have time to move, then hopefully you're camoed up good, and hopefully you can just stay bedded down where you're at. And obviously snipers, especially in the military scenarios, have had that happen. And again, on the flip side, if you hear voices and they're kind of far out, you look and you see the guys, or you can just hear them way off in the distance, but they're starting to get closer. And again, if I can turn and get away, then obviously I'm going to get away. But that's where sometimes common sense also comes into this. But it's, I think, common sense, good survival instincts, and training. But again, gathering the intelligence. Also, you obviously need to know what intelligence you need. Intelligence isn't just you go out, we're just going to go out and just start watching people. Generally, you're going to have a purpose. And again, in a grid down scenario or into the world scenario, you may be looking for food, water, shelter, a vehicle to use, some kind of building to stay in, well, which would be a shelter, maybe a place to find tools or weapons or ammo left behind. So you may be doing surveillance to gather intelligence on those things, and then possible people that are bad guys or threats. And so again, that also is going to be in your planning. It's going to depend on, again, how close do I want to get? You know, I can tell you again, right here at 100 yards away or 200 yards away in an end of the world scenario, I'm not going to be doing surveillance this close, because first of all, I know in an end of the world scenario, people are going to be very alert, very hyper alert, vigilant, paranoid, and they're going to be protecting their properties in those cases. And they're going to be, if they're smart, having someone pulling security elements, and they're going to be looking for guys approaching to take their stuff, you know, bandits, marauders, invaders, whatever you want to call it. So again, guys, covered a lot in these videos, and then in a minute here, I'm going to give an example of just kind of what it looks like when you're actually set up and you're just got your ghillie suit. I'm just going to do a very basic, give you an idea of what it should look like. All right, guys, thanks.